Season 44, war number 11, and we're up against TCN. This time my team will be Kate Bishop, Kitty Pryde and Valkyrie. I will be taking Path 5 in Section 1, Path 4 in Section 2, Zemo and Doom mini-bosses, and finally that Bishop there on the left side. And now, finally I've gotten to the final war video of Season 44. It's taken a while, but we got there eventually. Up first we have a Kindred on the ebb and flow knockdown and right back at it nodes, and I am taking this fight with Kate Bishop. And this node is pretty annoying to take if it has a sugar pill defender on it, since every time you knock down the opponent they go debuff immune, and that means no slow debuff and no withers. Since you can't access the slow at all, you basically just have to not dex at all in the fight, or you run into the risk of the opponent going unstoppable. The debuff immunity also makes it so you don't have any protection against the degeneration from Kindred when he enters the root phase. So what I should do here is just not knock him down anymore at this point, let that final code snap do the damage, keep the withers on him, and then just take him down. Now, for whatever reason, I decided not to do that. I go for a knockdown, now I'm rooted with no debuffs, and I'm degening to death. But luckily this Kindred was a 7-star, so it's a low sig Kindred, meaning the root doesn't last long at all, and that saved me there. So definitely something I should have done better, but at the very least didn't cost me too much, though using all of these potions for basically no reason is pretty annoying. Then we have an Ascended Hulkling here on the ebb and flow knockdown and heavy hitter nodes, and this fight is just gonna get melted by Kate Bishop. Hulkling has no protection against cold snaps, so a couple special ones, then just keep up the cold snaps for the rest of the fight, and it's gonna be a fairly quick one. You can also get your knockdowns very easily with the parry evade. Just get the stun, get close, throw the heavy, protection is down, you get the fury bonus, and he's just gonna melt, as you can see here. He's not gonna regen any of it back, since he only regens back hit damage with those regen buffs, and the fight ends up being a little bit over 30 seconds long, even though it was an Ascended Hulkling. Normally that fight can take a little bit longer depending on who you use, but Kate Bishop just completely shuts the node down, since she doesn't have to worry about basically anything at all in the fight. Then we have a Black Widow Voyant here on the special burst lockdown and steady build up unblockable nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Kate Bishop as well. And this is one of those fights where you really do want that advanced power boost, so you can get an early knockdown with your special one. You really need to keep that slow debuff up, because if it falls off and you need to start dexing those special ones due to her being fully unblockable, the unstoppable can become a real issue. So as long as you can get the slow up early and keep it up, you'll be just fine, and the fight goes down in less than 30 seconds, provided you play well and get those perfect releases. This one went pretty much perfectly, but it can go wrong. Trust me. Talking about fights that can go wrong, here we have a steady build up unblockable and painful retreat Spider-Ham, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. Last time I took it with Kate Bishop and it did work out, but the power sting damage was a lot higher than I thought it would be, and that gave me a little bit of a scare the last time around. So this time around I figured that Valkyrie should work perfectly fine for this, so long as I do not stack up any of those bulwark buffs. Valkyrie's chance to shrug off non-damaging debuffs goes up based on her block proficiency, and without any of the bulwark buffs, her chance to shrug them off is 0%. Normally, at least. But that does account for masteries, and I do have some block proficiency up in there, so occasionally she can still shrug them off, but it's not gonna be nearly as often. The reason why it's important here is that the steady build up unblockable node will make the attacker unblockable if they shrug off a debuff, and that is bad for Valkyrie, since you want to hit the opponent's block all the time. Now another thing or reason why this matchup works very well is because Spider-Ham will not evade blocked hits, so you do not have to worry about any of that. Just keep hitting his block and he does basically nothing. Fight goes down, finished with full health, but I did make a couple so mistakes there, but it didn't cost me too much, so can't be mad at that. And next up we have a Zemo here on the power snack and one too many hits nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. I do have a White Magneto pre-fight here to help me out if necessary, but under normal circumstances you do not need to parry at all in this fight, so it's just a damage boost. Now, last time I took a Zemo, which was in the previous video, I noted that I made a horrible mistake by not using the recoil masteries with her. And I'm not using them again this time around, and the reason for that is that this node doesn't have any extra protection, so my damage output is normal at least. And that means this fight is not gonna take nearly as long. Sure, with the recoil masteries I could take this fight a little bit faster, but at the same time it costs units and it costs time on my boosts to do that. So in this situation it was better that I didn't put them on. As you can see here, fight didn't even take a minute, Pryde is still at full health and there was absolutely no risk of dying there. That said, if you have more Pryde fights in a row, or if you're taking some tankier opponents due to nodes or just champion abilities in general, I do highly suggest using recoils with her or simply using a different counter. But anyways, next up here we have a Dr. Doom on the Hazard Shift Shock and Bleed along with Conflictor, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. And right off the start I make a mistake. I go and punish Doom's heavy attack with a medium, and of course I got the shock debuff from Hazard Shift right then and there, and of course Doom decided to slap me for it. Luckily it didn't crit, so it didn't hurt too bad, but it definitely wasn't a great way to start a fight. Now, as usual, against Hazard Shift nodes, the game plan is to only hit the opponent's block. The Hazard Shift debuffs will not trigger on blocked hits, so you are 100% safe from those, as long as you do this properly. Now against Doom, if he uses a special one, you really need to wait out the aura, because any contact with him while the aura is up has a chance to nullify your buffs, inflicting shock debuffs, and that means you lose some of your ramp up and you can allow Doom to slap you if you get close. To avoid that, I simply just play time if he does throw it, and if he decides he doesn't want to, well, I'll just push him to the special 2 and deal with that instead. Another nice thing about this node is the crumpling armor constantly healing you with willpower, so you can also block the special 2 if you're not comfortable dexing it. You will most likely be able to heal up at least most of the damage before the fight is over, so this fight is also fairly cheap to take with Valkyrie. He goes down pretty quickly, well, considering it was a Valkyrie fight, and other than the heavy attack at the start, there weren't any real issues. Then we have the final fight of this war, a bishop on the Conflictor, combat deja vu prowess, and prowess puncture node. And I'm taking this fight with Pryde. And as usual against bishop with Pryde, my game plan is to mainly bait the special ones and face them for most of my damage. However, at the very start here I decided to push him to a special 2 instead, because he wasn't cornered yet. But now that he's in the corner, I switch it up, I keep baiting special ones as soon as he gets the bar of power, so that he will be left as close to 0 as possible. After baiting the special 1, I face the bullets for damage. That of course consumes my own prowess, and that is exactly why I try to keep him as close to that 0 bars of power as possible following the special 1. It gives me enough time to land some criticals or intercepts to get at least 3 prowess, so that I can face the next special 1 as well. However, if I don't get enough prowess for whatever reason, I do have the White Magneto pre-fight here to help me out. A single parry will inflict a passive stun, giving me 3 prowess, so I will always have easy access to that. That will cost me some block damage, but that's fine. This is my final fight, so even using potions wouldn't be an issue, because I won't need to. Now, Recall Masteries would speed things up quite a bit here, but as you can see, it's really not necessary, so long as you actually know the correct spacing for that special one. It's very simple. Once he throws it, dash back twice, dash in, and there you go. You will be able to face all of the bullets, no issues. It works basically anywhere on the screen except in your own corner, and it makes Bishop a joke. Fight goes down, no issues there. Did lose some time, but that's quite alright. As for the results, we did end up losing the war 1-3. Not much we could have done there. Our opponents played very well. Then we have the final war of the season, and we are up against PBT. This time my team will be Tigra, Kate Bishop and Valkyrie. I will be taking Path 5 in Section 1, Path 5 in Section 2, that Gorr mini-boss on the left, Hulk on the right, as well as that Mysterio boss. Now, as you can see, I'm joining the war pretty late, and I'm pretty sure this was right after I got back from Vancouver, and I was down with the corona, so I was down and out for almost the whole day, but I did get in there to finish my job at least. To start things off, here we have an America Chavez on the Event Flow knockdown and right back added nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Kate Bishop. As I said in the previous war, this node is fairly annoying to take against Sugar Plum defenders due to the debuff immunity on knockdown. But once again, I can just, well, not dex at all in the fight, and I don't have to worry about the unstoppable. America Chavez doesn't have any damaging effects that I have to worry about either, so long as I don't push her to her special 2 at least. So all I need to do is just block the special ones, punish them, and that's all there really is to it. She goes down in less than 30 hits, I only had to block a single special one, so the chip damage wasn't that bad either. All in all, it's a fairly simple fight. Just don't reflexively dex the special ones, and if you do, be careful, only punish her special one with a single hit and see if the unstoppable triggers. Then we have a Nick Fury here on the Event Flow knockdown and heavy hitter nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Kate Bishop as well. Now, the game plan here is to simply just avoid him going fully unblockable with that special one. So long as I can do that, this fight is fairly safe to take, but occasionally I do need to rely on intercepting to get my openings, which is a little bit sketchy against a Nick Fury. Now, that said, I do mess up an intercept right here while he had that Fury's Fury buff as well. Luckily he only did a double medium, so I wasn't punished too hard for it. Had he done a full combo ending on a light attack, I might have been in trouble. I don't think it would have finished me off, but it would have been close. Now that he entered his second life, he removed the earlier cold snaps, so I just went ahead, threw my special 2, and got the perfect release, and those cold snaps, they were enough to finish him off, even though the protection came back. The protection there is not strong enough to allow the defender to survive, since Kate's cold snaps are just that strong. Now, just to mention, getting the perfect release on the special 2 without slowing down time is slightly more difficult than the special 1, but with some practice you can get it down. The timing is a little bit later than you would think. Next up we have a Morbius here on the Event Flow intercept node, and I'm taking this fight with Kate Bishop. And this fight is nothing special. All you gotta keep an eye on is the psionic glide, and preferably just bait it out and then use the parry evade for your intercept, remove the protection, drop the special one with that passive Fury still active from the Event Flow node, and then just let the cold snaps do the work. Now, the psionic glide is slightly annoying to deal with because it actually makes his dash attack slightly faster than it normally is, so it can catch you off guard. Just be ready for it and bait it out whenever it is available, and you're good to go. Then, next up we have a Kindred on the Event Flow intercept and Mighty Charge nodes. And this node is another one of those that's a little bit more annoying to take against the Sugar Pill defenders, due to Mighty Charge being able to remove the opponent's debuffs whenever they dash at you. This one is slightly easier to play around than the one in section 1 with the right back added node, simply by getting the opponent cornered and keeping them there. If they are in the corner and you're close to them, they cannot dash at you, so Mighty Charge will not eat the debuffs. Now in this fight, so long as you can keep those debuffs up and keep Kindred cornered, when he enters the root phase, you will be golden. The TCNs will not do any damage to you thanks to decay, but the issues arise if you accidentally get too far away when that happens. Now luckily here, blocking the last hit of that special one got me to my own special one, so I was able to escape the root, but had I not gotten enough power, I might have been in some trouble there, since the root triggered while I was far away, he dashed at me immediately to remove the wither debuffs, and then I was just, well, unprotected against the degeneration. Didn't exactly plan for it to end like that, but it worked out, so can't be mad at that. Next up we have a Gorr on the Mega Stand and One Eye Open nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Tigra. And this fight is extremely easy and simple to take if you just forget about doing anything fancy. Use basic attacks when needed to push him back, get your special 2, and do the spacing properly for the special 1, and you can get your easy knockdown right then and there, and a single special 2 should finish the fight. However, in this fight, I decided to play like an idiot. I'm not sure if I was just playing bad, or if it was due to me having, or rather being sick at the time, though I can't really call that an excuse. It shouldn't really affect my gameplay. So, yeah, I'm just playing bad here, and this fight is already double the length that it should be. Now, despite making so many mistakes against a defender that you really don't want to make mistakes against, the fight still went down without any bigger issues. My Tigra is still almost at full health, and, well, I'm not exactly proud of that fight, but it could have gone a lot worse. And then we have a Hulk here on the Polka Dot Power and Stunning Reflection mini-boss node, and I'm taking this fight with Valkyrie. And this fight is a very long one. Since this node also has the Brute Force node, now I can't just hit the opponent's block until I get my special 2 and then nuke them down with that. If I were to try to do that, I would be ticking down from the Brute Force node, which actually doesn't finish you off, but Hulk isn't really an opponent I wanna fight against at low health if I can avoid it. So, basic attacks it is. Now, the biggest threat with Hulk here is actually just getting hit when he has plenty of those Furies, so as long as I don't do that I should be fine, but yeah, that special one can sometimes catch you off guard if you dex too early. The first part of it is a fairly slow moving hit, so dexing early is definitely a very common mistake. Now, I do have the safety net in those bulwark buffs. They make Valkyrie stun immune, so if I were to eat a special one, at the very least I could not get stun locked to death. So as long as the special one itself doesn't kill me, I'll be fine. Now, unfortunately, like I said, this fight is gonna take a while, since Valkyrie's only damage source here is her basic attacks, as well as those occasional instant bleeds into the block, and that is also why I try to get the most of it whenever he does start blocking in the corner there, and just pound into his block with 4 basic attacks. Now, occasionally I do take some brute force damage, but this is my final Valkyrie fight, so it's quite alright, so long as I don't die. And there's not really much else to say here. I've been rambling on for almost 2 minutes about nothing. All I could have said was Valkyrie bypasses unstoppable, and Hulk goes unstoppable, and that's all there is to it. But there we have it, the fight is over, nothing special happened, Valkyrie just got the job done, and that's all there is to it. And now we have arrived at the final fight of this war, as well as this season, a Mysterio boss that I will be taking with Kate Bishop. And last few times I've fought Mysterio, I have made some mistakes, but I have also learned from them. And I hope this fight shows it. And now, this time I didn't have the advanced power boost, so I can't start off the fight with a special one to get the slow up early. Instead, I'm playing it slow and safe, waiting heavy attacks for my openings, trying to get to my own special one, but he decides to throw his first. I went ahead and punished it with a single hit to check if the unstoppable triggered, which it didn't, so I was free to get another opening and go in. Now that I finally have the slow debuff up from knocking him down with my special one, I can freely punish his special ones without needing to worry about the unstoppable, at least for as long as the slow lasts. And to make sure it will last the whole fight, I keep punishing his special ones with my heavy attack, which is something I didn't really do before. I knew about the spacing due to playing Tigra a lot, but I never really considered doing it with Kate Bishop against him until this fight. Now, the spacing I use here is that I simply avoid the first hit, then dex the beam, dash in to make sure that I don't lose any spacing on the field by him teleporting close to me, then I avoid the last hit by dashing back slightly earlier than you need to, so that I won't trigger the dex buff from there either, and then just throw my heavy attack to punish it. He doesn't recover that fast from the special one, so it is fairly safe to do, and I highly suggest you practice it, since it makes this fight extremely easy and basically risk-free so long as your dexes are on point. This boss fight goes down almost perfectly, and I'm very happy about how I managed to actually learn from my previous mistakes. As for the results, we actually ended up winning this final war 4-2, which is a nice way to end the season. As for my seasonal stats, I ended up with 93 attacker kills and 0 deaths. So another deathless season, I'm very happy with that, and 93 fights with the new war map is still pretty good, though I am hoping I can get some more fights next season, simply because I like playing war. And now that that is out of the way, I would like to acknowledge the fact that these videos are very late. And the main reason for that is that after coming back from the Battle Realm Brawl, I had a lot of health issues to deal with, and that basically prevented me from recording these commentaries. That said, I will do my best to make sure I upload my upcoming war videos for Season 45, for example, very early after the wars finish, maybe not the same day, but close to it at least. I know I can't really continue with an upload schedule as bad as this one, so I am gonna try my best to fix it. Now, one final thing before I go. Please do let me know in the comments how I should be milking this mythic title that I now have. I am eagerly waiting for your ideas.